everyone, welcome back to Psychology of Rock. If you're new here, my name's Nina, and as we have talked about in multiple videos on this channel, there is no question that playing a musical instrument significantly changes our brain in incredibly beneficial ways. But most neuroscience research focuses on specialists who have spent thousands of hours playing only one specific instrument. And in a few recent videos where I was discussing the brains of drummers and the brains of guitar players separately, which I will link down below just in case you missed them, I received probably dozens of comments asking whether or not learning more than one instrument alters the brain in an even more profound way. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how the brains of multi-instrumentalists differ not only from non-musicians, but also from singular instrumentalists like myself, and whether it gives them a unique cognitive advantage or if it simply splits their brain's processing power. As always, you can find these citations for all of the studies that I used to make this video in the description box, just in case you want to read them for yourself. And with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. So to begin, we already know that playing an instrument in general is one of the most neurologically demanding things that humans regularly do. Music recruits auditory processing, fine motor control, timing systems, memory, attention, emotion, and predictive processing all at once, and our brain physically adapts to this demand. But when we start learning multiple instruments, the benefits appear to go well beyond this. In fact, it starts to shift how our brain organizes information itself. One of the biggest changes appears in the corpus callosum, the bundle of nerve fibers connecting the brain's left and right hemispheres. Musicians in general show a thicker and more active corpus callosum, especially if training starts very early in life. And as we've talked about in some of the other videos in this series, playing certain instruments changes the brain in highly specific ways. For example, playing piano develops extraordinary bilateral coordination and finger independence. Playing drums strengthens timing networks and limb independence, while playing guitar leads to advanced spatial pattern recognition, allowing them to visualize chords and scales almost like geometry across the fretboard. And over time, these repeated movements become heavily myelinated. Myelin is the insulating layer that wraps around neural pathways, allowing signals to travel faster and more efficiently. Eventually, the musician stops consciously calculating each action because the brain compresses entire movement sequences into automatic prediction loops. But multi-instrumentalists disrupt this process constantly. This is because every single instrument introduces a brand new motor map. And even beyond that, the systems are neurologically different enough that the brain has to actively prevent them from interfering with one another. And that may be one of the defining traits of multi-instrumentalists. They repeatedly train the brain's ability to be able to switch between competing neural frameworks without collapsing them together. This places major demands on the prefrontal cortex, the region involved in executive function, working memory, attention control, and cognitive flexibility, which is the brain's ability to rapidly shift between distinct rule systems or mental frameworks. While a person that plays a singular instrument often develops an incredibly efficient neural highway built around one interface, a multi-instrumentalist often develops something much more adaptive. Their brain repeatedly practices reorganizing itself around entirely different coordination systems, timing structures, and sensory relationships. And eventually, this changes how the music itself is represented mentally. It stops being just a series of patterns or rhythms or shapes, and instead, the focus starts to zone in on the underlying function of the sound itself. And I think this very shift may help to explain why so many multi-instrumentalists genuinely thrive at things like arranging, composition, and production. They're thinking less about the mechanics and more about things like relationships, structure, tension, rhythm, and interaction. And this also connects with predictive processing, which is one of the most important concepts in neuroscience. Fundamentally, our brain is just constantly trying to predict whatever's most likely to happen next. Music trains the system intensely because music, melody, and harmony all completely rely on expectations. But multi-instrumentalists often develop predictive models across multiple musical roles simultaneously. The more instruments someone learns, the more perspectives the brain can simulate internally at once. And in many cases, multi-instrumentalists are mentally modeling entire ensembles rather than just isolated parts. This has major implications for creativity. In fact, research on creativity consistently shows that innovation often emerges from cross-domain transfer. Or in other words, taking patterns from one system and applying them somewhere else. Multi-instrumentalists instinctively do this literally all the time. For example, a drummer that picks up a guitar may introduce rhythmic phrasing that most guitarists would not naturally conceive. This is because each instrument transfers habits, constraints, and perspectives into the others. In the end, it can lead to a massive boost in divergent thinking, the exact cognitive trait that's usually responsible for musical innovation and songwriting brilliance. But I still think some of the deepest changes we see may have to do with the psychology of learning itself. Most musicians spend years reinforcing competence inside one domain. However, multi-instrumentalists repeatedly place themselves back into uncertainty. Every new instrument they learn forces them to re-confront initial failure, awkwardness, frustration, and beginner-level coordination problems. As a result, they become much more comfortable with uncertainty and a lot more tolerant of making mistakes, and a lot more familiar with the discomfort that usually accompanies adaptation itself. This also strengthens metacognition, the awareness of our own learning process, which only further aids in new skill acquisition. But of course, as with anything in life, there can be a trade-off. A specialist maximizes efficiency. Their brain reinforces one pathway until it becomes extraordinarily refined, whereas a multi-instrumentalist distributes practice across multiple systems, often sacrificing a degree of that hyper-specialized precision in exchange for flexibility and broader integration. And I'm certainly not saying that one is better than the other, it's just a neurological distinction. One optimizes stability and the other optimizes adaptability. And when we look at many famous multi-instrumentalists like Trent Reznor or Steven Wilson or Devin Townsend, the same patterns appear repeatedly. They often become arrangers, producers, composers, and system-level thinkers capable of mentally organizing entire musical ecosystems. So clearly, playing multiple instruments definitely changes something deeper than just technical skill. But does it actually give us a cognitive advantage? Well, according to research, it absolutely does. While a specialist optimizes for speed and precision on that one path, a multi-instrumentalist develops a distinct edge in executive functioning, working memory, and cognitive flexibility. But the ultimate cognitive advantage is that their brain becomes highly optimized for advanced pattern recognition, creative problem solving, and the ability to link completely unrelated ideas together in entirely new ways. Some research even suggests that musicians who train across multiple instruments may develop greater neural efficiency rather than simply more brain activity. And believe it or not, in neuroscience, efficiency often matters more than raw activation because skilled brains frequently solve complex tasks while using less energy. But honestly, like I've said in about 1 million videos by now, playing a musical instrument really is one of the absolute best things we can do for our brain. And with every single new instrument we learn, we're really unlocking a whole new dimension of neural potential. So I really hope this video answered your questions, and I would absolutely love to hear which instruments you play and anything you'd like to add to this analysis. So please go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video.